I told you the minute you come on to the podcast.
Well, I'm just like making sure. Yeah, my mic is set up. I'm good. You can hear me, right? It's all good.
Yeah. Actually, I was on a Zoom with you yesterday. I wish I heard you this good yesterday. It's like real classy for my podcast. Thank you.
I'm trying. I
You
was
sound
just
great. You look great. I'm really into your, what do they call it? The brightener, the highlighter.
oh yeah, the
Very into your
highlighter.
makeup. Go watch us on YouTube. You can see what I'm talking about. I was running late because I needed water. I get so thirsty. Like
Oh yeah.
I get like thangry.
Yeah, well, let's just as a great addict should. I have
Oh,
both
me too.
options.
I'm with you.
Course.
I'm with you. I just finished this. So anyway, the reason I'm running late is
It's all
because
good.
I was really thirsty.
It's all good. My inner monologue as I was running up, and I'm like, I'm coming on time. I've got all my drinks, and I was like, today's day 2. No sugar. Yep, today's day
Today
2.
is Julie's second day off stevia.
Holy shit. This is no joke.
Before we talk about your illustrious career as a coach,
Yeah.
can we talk about your illustrious career, which I need to talk about? Because I'm very anti-coach and very pro you. So I'm having my own. Julie's
Right.
my coaching teacher. I'm a coach now too. Julie's changed my whole life about coaching. But can we talk about your illustrious career as a recovering compulsive overeater and sugar addict? Because I think everybody,
Yeah.
just always good to talk about.
Yeah, dive in. I was just,
How many years have you been imperfectly off of sugar and flour?
I have been in recovery for 19 years.
Jesus.
Since 2003.
Mm.
Did I do the math right? Yeah, we're
I'm
20.
not sure. I'm not the girl to ask. I'd get my phone out if you want.
Yeah, I think it's 19 because 2023 will be 20. Yeah.
There you go.
So we're 19 years. And I would say when I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's underactive thyroid about 11 years ago and shifted gears again in recovery. And that just, it's a choice and a complete surrender. Because my body basically spoke up and was like, hey girl, we don't like sugar. And we also don't
Stop
like
eating fire.
yeah. So stop anything that's gonna be inflammatory. And that was a big wake up call. I gotta be honest. Yeah.
Some people don't listen to that wake up call. I feel like we don't give ourselves enough credit for taking the call. I really have to say that. I also called I called a psychiatrist today because that was our commitment in our group yesterday, you and me. Julie and I are like accountability friends. We're recovery friends. We're so many things. And how long have we known each other?
I know.
Really, we know each other like 10 minutes. We fell madly in love.
Yeah, but I was like, clearly we've done lives, we've done something. Like I was like, you are me.
Because it's not even codependent. It's just like, right. It's just right.
Right.
So I did my homework from our accountability group yesterday. You taught me how to become a coach. I did my individual coaching class with Julie. And then we had a friendship meeting. And then we had accountability goals at the end of group. And now we're doing a podcast today, all in a day's work. So it's interesting, right? Because what you were saying to me yesterday was how you were off artificial sweeteners and then they just kind of found their way back into your.
Yeah.
Like that just happens. That happens with me too.
Yeah. It's so funny. And I think one of the gifts that I, with the 19 years of imperfect recovery and abstinence is what has really shaped up is a deeper compassion. And I don't know where it comes from because as I'm saying this, I'm like, yeah, Jill, like, what the heck? What were you thinking? Like, what were you thinking? But I know what I was thinking. I'm like,
what were you thinking?
I was thinking, you know what? I mean, I can swear. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. Like, fuck it, case of the fuck it. It's like, I can't eat sugar. I want something sweet.
Yeah.
It's that beginning to that whenever I get into this, like what I would think of as like this erosion type of thought process where it's like, well, it's not that big of a deal. It's not sugar per se. You're doing great. Like all of these encouraging thoughts.
Well, they're rationalized, right? I mean, and they are, and they're not. And
Yeah, and not like I want to say anyone that uses that, it might be fine for you. The problem for me is because I truly have this thoroughbred addiction threat, thing in me. It's like the minute I get something that's sweet, it
Mm.
just forget it. And I go into this crazy amnesia. I'm like, I'll be fine. And then the next thing I know, I'm using literally probably 20 different types of stevia in a day. I
Yeah.
mean, it, yeah. And I was like
I
hiding
laugh. I
it.
laugh because I relate. I laugh because then I had there was a
Yeah.
year where I was really into the fake sugar, and I was traveling a lot, and I would travel everywhere. Everywhere I traveled in my bag with a bag of sugar-free Hershey's, and I just had this sponsor, and he was like, "Want to look at that?" I was like, "No, Danny." That's his name. That's my dog name. I was, "No, Danny, I really don't."
Yeah.
But then we did.
Yeah.
And I was just so attached to it. But we had this great thing yesterday. I wish that was a podcast, our conversation yesterday, because I think we were both talking about the idea that having these imperfections in our recovery, like, I have to say, and I've had two pretty significant ones in the last 2 years, the beginning of COVID and my long COVID, where they were very
Yeah.
disorganized and impactful, certainly on my weight, and then on my sort of ability to see straight, and then getting my lenses cleaned up again. It is so beautiful for me. What is your experience of getting your lenses? Like, what do you think is the value of sort of getting your lenses foggy and then cleared up again?
I mean, such a good question. It's like choking me up thinking about it because
You
I
know,
don't.
clock it at 6 minutes into the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
We're crying.
Yeah,
We're
choking
not
up.
talking about anything we're supposed to. It's my kind of podcast.
I know. I'm like, because I came in, I'm like, actually, what I really want to say to you is I'm so excited. It's day two. And then I had this thought of how the fuck am I going to do this the rest of my life? And then I'm like,
Oh,
Julie,
yeah.
one meal at a time in it. And I was like, there you go. So I don't love when my lenses get fogged. I'm going to be honest. Like my instinct is like, get them cleaned, get me out of here. I don't want to deal with this.
Mm,
However, and I think this is what you're asking, the gift of it is, and I was just thinking of this because also having dealt with some health stuff this last 6 to 9 months. And honestly, what happened is it just triggered a lot of fear. And for me, the antidote is always going to be more God, more higher power, more something, not
right.
me. And I, that seems to be the gift is I feel different today. You said it yesterday. You're like, you're going to feel different soon. And I already feel clearer. I feel like the lenses have been cleared.
Yeah.
2 days in and and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not alone here. Cause sure felt like I was. And I'd had
Oh God, that's just so, but like,
yeah,
oh, but isn't it so interesting? Like, it's so seemingly innocuous. So I just started to put some, spent stevia in my tea, and then everything else. I'm with you. And, and how that you align that with feeling with really like, your like smallness, right? Feeling lonely and alone in this world. And then you just told me yesterday, and you're like, oh, just kidding. Back in the flow of life.
yeah, yeah. I am,
Isn't shame a fascinating little feeling? And because the point of shame, honestly, is that it's the function of shame is it tries to protect us from rejection. That's like, so it's really
yeah,
wonderful. Does that really well,
yeah, it did.
but also holds us hostage, but still.
Yeah, and here I just want to say, if I can like tell on myself, because it hit
Do
me
everything.
today. I was hiding this shit. And it's funny. I had, and I talk with intuition, I trust it. And there's been inner little wisdom voices that are like, do you want to use that? Do you think? And I was like, absolutely. Like the other part of me is like, oh, heck yes. Oh, sure. Yes, I do want to use this. Thank you very much.
Yes.
No, I don't want to
I
look
would
at
like
this.
more. Yes, I would like
Yeah.
more
No,
sweetener, please.
Danny, we're not looking at this.
Danny, what do you think? It's weird that I carry 3 bags of Hershey's minis with me when I go on vacation? Is that like not normal?
Oh my
Okay.
gosh. Well, I opened my special cabinet. I have this special cabinet with like my supplements and like all the things that I take for just gut healing, all this stuff that for thyroid, whatever, all of my
Yeah.
shit in
All
this
of them.
cabinet. And I realized I had already started to buy, and of course, the delusional thinking is, oh, it comes from a plant and it's organic, and I just got myself into this. This is not the same as Splenda, and it's just
Right.
not like
Certainly
we're
not
talking.
sweetened though. My favorite.
No.
That's my favorite sweetener of all time.
Oh, I could be right there. But I realized I had bought all of these special organic dripping
Mhm.
kinds, like, Whole Foods and online, and I had like borrowed them, like hidden them, with next to my zinc. I have zinc droppers. I'm
Mm.
like, oh my God, they look the same. My husband, who like would not use it if I asked him not to, but I'm like, just in case we run out, I've got 3 back
That's
stock.
just like and pardon the word if this offends you, but to me, like, that's just I know when I'm
Crazy.
not in my highest self, not in my wise mind, because I was just putting on makeup and I have this like Laura Mercier eyeshadow stick, and I was just putting it on and it looked so good. And my first thought was, do I have enough of it? Should I order more from Sephora right now?
I'm
It's like the whole
different.
and then I had
Yes.
to just say to myself, like, no, it's okay. Just go do the podcast.
Yeah,
But
it's fine.
that scarcity is
Yes.
so aligned with addiction for me
Yeah.
and so aligned with fear and scarcity. And I don't have enough and I'm not enough. And how can I be better? And how can I be more? And then when I have these moments where I turn back into like the real first layer of my addiction. And I think it's amazing that we can talk like this, two women with double digits years of recovery.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, I don't know, but I try to do it perfectly and also know somewhere inside of me that that's going to be impossible. And for me,
Yeah.
and I mean, I don't know, this is your day two. So I think if I asked you this in 2 months, you'd have a different answer. But like, cause I just know from like my long COVID and that weight gain and that kind of disorganized food that started, it's all I could do. It's the best I could do at the time.
Yeah.
But it also just makes me really compassionate
Yeah.
as a recovering person, as a coach, as a therapist, as a friend. It makes me so forgiving. And I'm telling you, like, I had to do this forgiveness work on Tuesday about a dear friend of mine who just can't show up. And I was like, forgive him for who he is. I was like, who is that? Because that ain't,
Right. Who is that?
that's not me. I don't know. I think that's just the shift that I had from this particular experience. Cause I'm more like, be better, try harder,
Yeah. Push it, like
try
make it work.
harder.
Yeah, totally. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I relate. I have to say my brain just did it. Oh my God, tell me more about this Laura Mercier stick. And I'm going to add in the tell me more, which we were talking about
It's going to
yesterday.
solve all your problems. Well, the other thing I was thinking, what was I thinking? The thing I really do love, which I think is important for everybody to hear. This is my belief. There's no data to support it, but there probably is brain data to support it. But they always say that like, addiction is a progressive illness. And so it gets worse and worse and worse over time, which we could all agree with. I could even agree with my online gin rummy, like certainly the $1,000 tables weren't giving me the same high. But I also think very, very in the bottom of my soul that recovery is very progressive. And I think
Yep.
if you have good recovery and you slip a little bit, it's not easy to get back, but it's a little quicker.
Yes, it's like a muscle or a tracheolade somewhere that got covered
It's
in
like
moss.
waiting there for you.
Yeah.
It's waiting for you. Like, you had this little thing and then you're like, okay,
Yep.
let me get brave again. And like, I think the recovery is right there for you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's true because I could draw upon. I'm like, I've done this. I've been there, and also, it's not just me, Julie. Like, and I've been, forehead to the floor quite a bit. Just
What does forehead
saying-
to the floor mean? So like,
meaning, like, what does that? Meaning, I'm like, hey, God,
oh,
please
yeah.
help this soul here because getting in my own way doesn't work. And for me, I also didn't feel well physically. So when I eat certain things at this point, I have a body reaction. Like I don't feel well. I felt fluish and I'm like, oh, heck no, I didn't come this far to get this far. Like part of me is like, we're not doing this again.
Yeah, but I think that's the progressive recovery piece.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
so I'm just saying like, I think that in diet culture, I think that we get into this thing of like, oh, well, I screwed up. I should just, throw the whole thing away. And I think that when you get a bunch of days together,
Right.
you have to remember that you're building something, you're creating a new snow groove. So maybe just maybe it isn't so hard to come back. I think we have this orientation, and diet culture has made multi-billions of dollars supporting this.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, you know what? You're back on the stevia. May as well go for the mac and cheese next, and
Right.
then there is this part of you that you've created where you're like, nah, I think instead I'm just going to go back off stevia again.
Yeah. I think, well, there was a moment I have to say, and I'm like, like if I, you can see it just opens the door a little more. I mean, I'm married to someone who is normal beyond, I don't get it. I literally don't understand how I have said to him, I just don't understand how you are designed. None of
Just
this
neutral.
makes sense to me. I can't understand. He does the one square of chocolate, the one half glass of wine every other night if he wants.
Wow.
Like one square of chocolate. I'm like, I can't even look at that thing and imagine one square. I can't even imagine. I'm like, how are you? Who are you?
I could imagine it, but then I would just keep going back in. Remember that? I mean, that was a great episode of Sex and the City where Miranda keeps on just cutting the cake and cutting the cake and cutting the cake.
That's me. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Totally.
Shadow of a doubt.
So yeah, it's just, but I think I like this, what you're saying. And I agree, this progressive recovery. And that was the part I was so grateful for. I'm like, I'm actually being pretty kind and compassionate to myself. And I'm still a little scared because I'm not feeling 100%. And I think it's connected, yet I'm willing to do this. And I'm coming from more care and compassion than you talked to me 15 years ago. Forget it. I mean,
forget it.
It was a mess.
Well, it's just been confirming that I was a terrible person. And I think that's the other part of why it's, what we're going to talk about today. This is our pre-show.
Right. You said we're getting
we
on and
always
chatting.
have a pre-show. Listen,
I know.
You're somebody I'd like when I talk to you, I think, well, this would be a good podcast. There's never a time where I've communicated with you. My friend Michelle Garside, she's on the show before you.
Okay.
There's people who I get off the phone with and I think, well, that's a great podcast.
Yeah, totally.
I'd want to listen to our conversation. You happen to be an expert in the field. We'll get to that. Right. But I think this is just important because I think this is the thing, like it's so hard to lean in. For me too, it's hard to lean into the idea that you always have to be in a relationship with food.
Yeah.
And it's not always perfect. I am sober 11 years today. Actually, we're filming this on September 1st and sober 11 years today. And I'm not saying it was easy to get sober. But in its own way, if I had a gun to my head and comparatively said, is it easier to get sober or is it easier to be in recovery from an eating disorder? I would be like, it's so much easier to be sober. It's a bright line. I never have to do it. I get cravings for it. It's a hard no. It's not like that craving you had, which is, I want something sweet. I don't eat sugar, but this comes from a plant. So maybe I could put that in it. And I guess there is with like non-alcoholic beer or something like that. But I'm just not interesting to me because I just want to get high when I drink,
Yeah. I'm like, what's the point? There would never be a point. Exactly.
Right, I just want to get fucked up when I drink, but or drink like a lady. But again, I look at a glass of wine and I'm like, that's hilarious. But I think it's really important to say that, right? Which is like, this is an important thing to talk about because there are people, I guess, who never do it again and it's just squared away.
Yeah.
But we were saying yesterday, you said this yesterday. I wonder what you meant by it. You said, I would not want to have that life. Do you remember saying that?
No, I don't actually. And I'm like, who said that?
You said that. You're like, I wouldn't want to have that. I said, well, there's people who do that, like 3 squares, weigh and measure everything, which is great. And if it's for them, that's great. But you're like, I wouldn't want that.
Yeah. Okay. Now you just stoked the fire. It's all coming back. Yes. I did say that because there's something about this whole thing we call being a human and having it be perfectly imperfect. I don't even love the word, just having it be where I'm clear. Look, I am clear on the like hard no. And clearly the stevia made its way in.
It made it into the yellow land.
It made it into the yellow. But here's what I could have focused. Here's what tipped it off. And if I had been willing, the energy I spent on stevia and thinking about it and hiding it and making sure when we just traveled, I had like, and I'm thinking about it now, I'm laughing my ass off because I had a baggie of I mean, I had it like everywhere in every like butt
Oh yeah.
pack and side pack and things. My mom, like we got extra at the place we're staying. That's a tip off I don't feel that way with sweet potatoes. I gotta be
I don't
honest.
feel that way. Yeah.
Nope.
I mean, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I hate to say this out loud, but think about my relationship with coffee, and it's very similar to what you're talking about, which,
Yeah.
maybe one day.
When you're ready, we'll go there. And it's
Mm.
like not pushing it. This is what we were talking about yesterday, which is I think fascinating, the stages of change, right? That whole
Mhm.
model. If you're in
DiClemente. I'll
yes,
put it in the show notes. DiClemente stages of change. It's so interesting because
so
what
good.
effectively it says is change does not happen bippity boppity boo.
Right. I've never heard it said like that, but I
Well,
love the way
stick
you
with
said
me,
it.
friend.
I'm like, I need to add that into my coaching program. So here's the deal, everyone.
Bippity boppity boo.
We're gonna quote that. That's
There
Molly,
you
a
go.
Mollyism.
Yeah. Also, I think Sleeping Beauty, but yes. Or
Right.
Snow White, or one of those.
Molly and one of the
Right.
Disney
Me and Walt
princess
Disney.
movies.
Mhm, mhm.
Right.
Bippity
Exactly.
boppity boo.
Yeah, it doesn't. That's very true. And if you're not in that contemplation, I mean, it's just kind of a like, you don't go there yet. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. My relationship with coffee is actually in what they call pre-contemplation, which
That's right.
is, you know, I know maybe I think maybe it's a problem, but I don't really want to talk about it. And then contemplation, this is my understanding. Then contemplation would be like, this is a problem.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to change it. And then preparation would be like, what are all the ways I
Yeah.
might think about changing this issue? And then action would be stopping drinking coffee, which I do not want to talk about anymore. I'd like to
That's
change the
right.
topic.
It just shot you back
I'm sort
to
of like,
even
and
contemplation.
now the toothpaste is out of the tube. It's just terrible this moment for me.
It's
You're such a
okay.
good coach, Julie. Julie,
Aw.
you're such a good coach. So I've just in my sweet long-term experience of
Yeah.
dealing with people who have had just treacherous experiences in therapy. I'm sure people have had treacherous experience in therapy with me. But in the most part, I
I
deal with a
doubt
lot of
that.
people. Oh, no, no, no. There's Facebook groups about how terrible I am as a therapist. We can
Oh,
talk about that another time.
all right.
That's okay. You got to be the villain in some people's story.
Sometimes.
But it's an interesting thing. I always take such issue with poorly trained coaches
Yeah.
and coaches that don't do their work. And I feel like there's no regulatory system. I guess there's no real regulatory system in therapy that makes us do our work, but we are suggested that we get supervised. But then I, met you, and then I decided I wanted to get certified in coaching, and it's just really changed my life a lot. And I wonder, and you've changed my life a lot, and I think you're really fabulous.
Mm.
And I think everybody who thinks that they should be a coach should absolutely and exclusively go to Julie's program. Sorry that this is an ad, but I'm not
You're
getting
so-
paid for it.
Thank you.
But I said that to you
Molly.
yesterday. I was like, wow, my life is really changing. So
Awesome.
I'm curious, like how you decided to become a coach, and then how you made your own coaching program, and why you love coaching. Start
Gosh,
anywhere you
yeah.
want. Yeah,
Well,
just simple questions.
yeah, those are like, I'm like, whoo, my brain is like, all right, where do we begin? I tend to be somebody who takes the mess and the message comes from the mess in my own life. So I'm gonna just,
Queen,
yeah,
slay that. The
which
message comes from the mess.
yes, which I've heard elsewhere, but I'm just using it here because that is true. And I found
Wait, yesterday we also had a really long talk about that you and I cite every reference. We would never just say
right,
something that
right.
in
See,
case it's our codependency. Like it's not mine. It's not,
right.
please
That's
don't sue
from my
me.
12
Yeah,
step
no one's,
program.
like Al-Anon's not going to sue you for that one, honey.
Right,
Don't
right,
worry.
right, right, right. Oh my God, you're so funny. I know. I'm like pulling from yesterday. It's so funny. I'm like, yep, I'm gonna quote that. That was not
There.
mine.
Thank you.
But I'm
Thank you
gonna
for
use it.
letting us know, Al-Anon. Okay.
Alan. Yeah. So the long short of it is it found me, it founded me. So as a psych major, I loved everything behavior psychology. I had thought you either like had to do research. To me, the idea of doing research, I was like, nope, I am not designed to do that. So figured, all right, I'm not going to go to grad school until I figure that out. And I really thought I'm not going to do it at all. did the work thing, nonprofit, worked. Oh, this is funny. I will say one of my jobs was at Panera for 11 years.
It's a great job for a compulsive overeater.
I called my sponsor and was like, hey, I got this.
You were in
internship.
recovery.
Oh, I was
So
like,
you didn't even get to eat all the food.
no, I was like 2 months in recovery.
Oh my God.
And I had this, in fact, I was with a friend of mine. We were eating at one, like, I don't know, whatever. And I said, I don't know why, but I have this strong urge to go up and talk to the manager and just see if there's anything. It was at the beginning of it really expanding.
Yeah.
And it was right near where I lived in the Chevy Chase area when I used to live there. And I walked over and I basically was like, hey, I don't even know if you have a position. They actually made a position for me. I ended up going in to HR, did recruiting, did leadership training, grew from 11 to 64 stores. It was crazy. But the irony is, I remember calling my sponsor. I'm like, holy shit, I'm on bakery training and I am literally surrounded right now by thousands of cookies. I think I need to phone a friend. She's like, you need to call 3 people every day.
Wow.
And it was no joke. And I just.
So because you worked in that environment, this is a really good story.
Yeah.
Because you worked in that environment.
Sense of humor here.
No, I think, but I don't actually, no. Cause I think this idea that, we can do anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, the condition of you working in a bakery was that you kept a connection to your power circle.
Yes, absolutely. And I will say it was, it was not perfect, but it was, my gosh. I mean, I just had such I remember being like, this is funny. Like, this is funny. I am literally for 6 months, I trained first in the store. I am surrounded by food all day long. My connection to higher power, to God, just increased because it had to. And that's, what you were saying, going into the office actually was harder because we had this latte machine. We had shit being laid. I wasn't expecting that. And I remember being like, shit, there's always these pastries. Like, I wasn't thinking I would have to deal with it. And that actually is harder for me to being in the office, frankly.
Well, I think it's what you're saying too. It's like, cookies are really bright lined, but like having a latte every hour on the hour, like you can sort of make a negotiation. You can make a rational lie about it. And that actually really tracks for me. I would do the same thing. And then I would be maybe like doing that squirrelish scavengering thing I've been known to do when my lines are not so right. So anyway, then you became a coach. What happened?
So
we're in this pocket for like 7 hours.
I know. You're like, let's move. I'll say really quick what happened. I was,
I'm like, land the plane, Julie. I love you.
Land the plane, doing all this excavation work through program. And I ended
What's
up
excavation? Like getting to the bottom of your life?
Yeah. Like finding love within myself, for myself. That's really what I would say. Like falling. I did a marriage ceremony with myself recently. I literally have a wedding ring.
Recently?
For myself.
I love everything about you. Wait, you just did a marriage ceremony with yourself?
Yeah, about a year ago. I did a ceremony.
Can I just tell the listener something right now?
Julie's different.
This is like, but like, no, like not only that, yes, but it's wonderful. Like, and like, this is really who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. This is who I
like,
am.
this is like, I might do that and be rolling my eyes a little bit. And then at the end of it, be like, wow, that was like pretty life-changing. Like I was with Intensati. I was like, oh, what is this thing? Why is everybody screaming everywhere? Like, I don't want to do this. And then clock it at like 6 minutes. I'm like hysterically crying that I'm a warrior.
Right.
But like you came up with that idea on your own.
Yeah.
You're like, I should probably do a ceremony and get myself a ring.
Yeah. And
I encourage everybody to do that.
Yes.
Maybe I'll do it.
My person I'm married to, I was like, just so you know, I am now married to myself first. So you're second. Damn. He's like, okay, whatevs, Julie.
I'm having that feeling right now. I'm like, want to throw up that I probably have to do this.
I know.
You're telling me this because I have to do this. I don't, not that I have to, but you know what I mean? When things happen and someone says something to you and you go, oh, that's the dumbest idea. And then you sit with it and you're like, oh,
yeah,
I'm rejecting this because it's exactly what I need. All right. Well, let's put that on our friendship agenda.
We'll put that.
We have a lot of agendas, but we'll put that on our friendship agenda.
I can hold the ceremony for you.
Right. That'd be great. Probably need company. I can't, you could like do it on your own because you're so connected. I need like company. I may just have like a party after.
Yeah.
Can I get a registry? Wait,
you just please no stevia. We'll have
no stevia, lots of Sephora. I'm doing a registry for my self-wedding. I'm here for this.
Hilarious. So we're going to put that on a special list.
I'm going to put that in the show notes.
to get married to yourself, here is what you do, the registry, the whole thing.
Yeah, here's the registry.
Here's what you do. All right. So I'm going to bring us back to coaching real fast.
Thank
I
you.
worked with a
No,
coach.
no, you're a good coach. Thank you for bringing us back.
I was like, let's get back to the question, which I did not answer yet. In this this process of really learning to love myself, I woke up in the middle of the night. I had 2 kids under the age of 2. And I realized that my, heart was racing. I thought I was dying, thought I was having a panic attack. And what I heard was, you're not okay here. Really. So for me, married to a really good person, not the best fit as I started changing and growing into myself. That was traumatic. I ended up doing a personal development program where there was a coach in it, and he worked with me, asked me he worked with me,
Landmark,
coached
right?
me through Landmark. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It was
Well,
really,
everyone just wants to know. Let them
yeah,
Google it.
through
Maybe it's right
Landmark.
for them.
Yep.
Let
It
them,
was
maybe it's right for them. I love Landmark. I never did it, but
it was
12 steps did that
amazing.
for me. But yeah, Landmark.
Yes.
Okay. She did Landmark.
Landmark, self-expression, leadership. I was being coached in that by my coach, Phil. And literally he asked me one question that just, when I say it changed my life, it changed my life. He said, Julie, if you knew, because I was freaking the F out. I mean, this is not opportunity time I was exhausted. I was like,
Yeah.
you've got to be kidding. He's like, Julie, if you knew your life would be absolutely extraordinary either way, what would you choose? And I was like, I never thought my life would be okay if I got divorced. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, if it could be extraordinary either way. So it was bringing both options in this beautiful, taking the polarities, putting it as either way would be okay. And immediately my intuition, my body was like, I don't want to stay in this marriage. It's not the right fit. He's like, great, go do that with grace, with humility, with kindness. And I'll see you in 9 months. You're going to coach my program with me. And I thought, okay, I have no idea how that's going to happen. 9 months to the day we met. There were about 6 of us in this program. And I had literally just moved into my own apartment. I had found all my furniture, half of it from Craigslist. It was just miraculous.
Yeah. Like a Tetris board.
It was crazy. And I ended up coaching that program 4 different times. So I did that and was like, what the heck is this? This is miraculous shit. And ended up finding a program. I didn't even know what this was going to be. Where I'm now living 7 minutes from Maryland University of Integrative Health, beautiful university, just became a university, first acupuncture school, signed my ass up for health and wellness coaching. And turns out they turned it into a master's degree program. So I stayed for 2 years and had some of the best instructors, professors. We did a ton around mind body science, around Tara Brock's work, Jack Kornfield's work. I can't even tell you, it changed my life. And I thought, well, as I said, I didn't get this far to get this, like, this is life changing. And I just kept knowing and hearing, you got to do this. So a year and a half later, I left my day job, single mom, benefits, like the whole freaking thing. And it's crazy when I say it out loud. Something in me was like, you're doing this. And I started with one coaching client and I used to be a personal trainer just on the side to get free gym memberships. One personal trainer membership client. That was it. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. And it came from that knowing that this changes lives. So, and I started to, got asked to teach at Georgetown, and be creating this program. We can get to it, but it certainly, I thought about it. It was really, I think the pandemic, it really was an intuitive nudge, to be honest. I woke up in March, like, I don't know, the pandemic, March, 17th. I woke up like March 23rd, and it was like, knock, knock. It's time for you to start a coaching certification. You've been wanting to do this. People need that. You need to train people how to really do this work, because to me, it's miraculous work. It's miraculous work.
Segue right into it for me. Yes. It
landed the plane 5 years later.
I like it. It was a good trip. I liked it.
Good trips.
Good snacks. But I think that is a really beautiful part of this. Part of how you coach, I think, is very teaching us. Certainly I know this, but it's a great way to learn about a coach being a collaborative part of your experience. Yeah. Can you say more about that?
Absolutely. And I'll say, by the way, this was 10 years ago. I got my degree. I've been doing this 8 years. I always have a coach. I believe in this work.
I mean,
always.
I always have.
So many.
I'm like literally like Jennifer Lopez with the amount of help I get. But Brad Reedy, who's been on the show twice, he's like the guy. You should know him.
I heard his interview and I was
Oh,
like,
he's so
I need
great.
to know Brad.
He's
Who
so
is
great.
amazing.
But you know what he always says to me when I'm struggling? He goes, the thing about you, Molly, you always do your work and people know it about you. And I'm like, that is a good thing to go down with. But it's true. I mean, yeah. I don't quite understand how people don't, but that's for.
It wouldn't work for me in my life if I did.
Well, I just don't like pain anymore.
Yes. Yes, I am.
So I'm like, okay, if I just use a couple of hard things, look at some shadows,
Yeah.
move a couple of things around, move to North Carolina, do all these things. Like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Count me in.
Exactly.
Here we are.
I'm totally with you. Yeah. I think that the partnership, the collaborative, that is something very special about coaching that to understand. I mean, I'll say this, and this is sort of the way I see it is when you are working with someone in this way, similar to therapy too, there is, you're not just, you're partnering with them, you're also entering their energy field. It's a sacred, the way I look at it, it's a sacred connection. It's a sacred union. I mean, that sounds sexual, but I don't mean it that way. It's a sacred, intimate, co-created relationship. You're really there with them, seeing them as total expert in their life, which I love. It's very empowering. And I always look at people, anyone I'm working with, I'm like, it's in there. Like, I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
You may not know the answer, but we will find the answer.
Yeah.
We will do that. And it's, it's a dance together. But there's a real sacred aspect to this. I really, it's always an honor and privilege anytime I do this work because you're entering somebody's field.
I think something you said in my training, which was that coaches like are not consultants and coaches are not experts. And, obviously I took that so offensively, but we talked it through. I'm like, I'm a consultant.
You're like, what?
I'm like, I'm a consultant at an expert. Like, yes, Molly, that's you, but I'm just teaching the coaching curriculum. Anyway, my experience dealing with people who have dealt with really abusive, and I use the word, and I would say vulturous coaches, the coaches have gone into areas of expertise where they have no right to be there.
No.
I think the worst part, and I'm really curious what you think about this, and I tell the story a lot, and it's really because it happened to one of my best friends. Talk about codependency. I think I could have, cured it. But the coach, they shouldn't say this to her, but she said it, and she said it in a post on Instagram, that there's one common denominator in every program that you have failed, and it's you.
Oh my God.
I know, but isn't it such a great sales technique, by the way? I mean, you really can you can really retain a client on that.
Yeah. It's just, where is the integrity and the ethics in that though?
Yeah. And where is this, like, what is this thing? Well, that's what I think. Like, and so many people I've treated in my life are like, I just need someone to be really hard on me. And I'm like, why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
Tell me more. And have you worked with a coach who knows how to empower and inspire you? Because if you have that can shift.
Okay. So talk to us about talk to us about what our coach should be doing. Take notes, everybody. And this is your therapist too. Like, I don't give a fluff. Like, tell us like the ideal qualities and like I say this, like, fire, if they don't have it, fire them. There's so many, this field is lush.
Yes, it is lush. Yeah. Yes.
Which means there's a lot of vultures in it. I just, like, my job in life right now is to get people to be the architect of their souls and their recoveries. And that might mean firing a few people along the way.
100%. Because
if I'm your therapist, you can fire me. I'm happy. I'm open to it. Let's just have a conversation first, because I can change. Okay, go on.
So funny. I love you. I just could stand here and tell you that all day. I will go to, so what are you looking for? What bothers me so much is what I just said about this is really entering a sacred contract with somebody. Not marriage, but there's an integrity, there's a aspect to it that I believe you've got to hold really, with a sense of, privilege is not the word privilege, maybe,
I
but
think it's a good one that
yeah,
the
privilege is a
coach,
good one.
I always feel
Yeah,
incredibly privileged to get
it is
to
a privilege. Yeah.
bear witness to somebody like basically getting, I don't know. I've done sessions in my life where I'm like, I think it would have been easier that this person got naked in front of me than told me this stuff today.
Yes.
Like it is
Okay.
very sacred, this work.
Yes. Sacred. So, look, first of all, the bottom belief and core aspect about coaching, the way I was trained, what I believe in my whole heart is anybody that you're working with, anybody that becomes a client or that is a potential client, everybody is an expert in themselves, which is an empowering, strength-based focus way of looking at identity and who we are, just coming from that lens. So I'm looking at you, Molly, when we were role playing yesterday. You are the expert of you. I am not the expert of you. It is not my job. It is not the job of a coach to give advice, to be the expert, to tell them what to do. I know this is going to sound, and I'm sure there's some that would say that's not what I think or believe. A lot of people use the word coach when really what they probably should be using is consultant,
Yeah, I agree with that.
or something else
Or like
other
taskmaster.
taskmaster,
Or
consultant. I'm
like
trying to think.
warden. I've had to say that in therapy. I was like, listen, I think we need to switch this conversation. I'm starting to feel like a jail warden here. I'm not interested in that,
Yeah, I don't want to be the right. So as a coach, so it's all about the way that you as the coach, where you're coming from, your intention, your beliefs, of course, right? What your way of looking at others. And so the core to all of this is non-judgment, right? Being non-judgmental, holding space, knowing how to hold space for somebody where all emotions, all aspects are welcome, but not having to fix that. Knowing that the person you're partnering with, you're coaching, has what they need, and this is the skills. This is what I teach. This is what I believe in. Is the training is around deep listening, and I'm talking like listening like you've never listened before. I'm saying listening like what is being said, what's not being said, looking at body language, listening, wow, you know, I'm noticing you lit up when you said that, but when we went back to that other conversation, you kind of pulled away. Listening at all levels. So it's like 360 listening. Knowing how to reflect, to use that type of powerful questioning where you ask open-ended, strength-based, appreciative-based, powerful, generative questions, which means it doesn't mean you're not going to go into how you're feeling or avoid the feelings that are harder. It just means we're going to look from that lens of how might that be serving you, helping you. What are you learning from that? There's a whole philosophy, and that definitely comes under positive psychology, appreciative inquiry.
There's tons of research on positive psychology, by the way.
So much research, and it really works. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. I've seen people shift shit. You'd be shocked, and expand to their next level. So, coming from that basic understanding that the person you're working with is the expert of their life. You are not. You
Yeah.
are not here to give advice. You're not here to tell the person what to do or to fix it. It's very Al-Anonish. And you're listening because what you're doing is you're helping them and guiding through the whole session to really hear what is it that's most important. How might, and I use that question a lot, how might we help you? And that in itself, creates this kind of collaborative partnership style. But the idea, and this is where it differs a little bit, is there's always action items at the end of it. And because of that, it builds an accountability. The thing is to come from that place of curiosity and non-judgment. I would say if you were looking at what makes a powerful coach, it's truly curious, compassionate, non-judgmental, and understanding.
And healthy. I don't know. Like, I think
Yeah,
there's just this
healthy.
one piece that I'm just sitting here, like, I don't know. I just always think how well a coach must do with regards to retention and financial bliss if they're really focused on how screwed up you are, how you didn't do what you were supposed to do, and they're really just focused on what you're not doing. And I think
that is not coaching. I'm like, I don't know what that is.
but it is. I think
there are coaches who do that.
I think it's because who have their own unhealed trauma
Yeah.
And maybe, and Ashley Morris talked a little bit about this on the show, where it's like that they're matching a traumatic, I'm sorry, just to be a therapist for a second, but like they're
Yeah.
matching a traumatic experience that you've had, right? Like, so if you have these parents who did nothing but tell you, oh, A minus, where's the A?
Right.
And that means that you're caught in the cycle of trying to heal that for the rest of your life. And you're going to find coaches that are going to match your trauma. Like what you're saying is, and what I want everybody to hear is like, find a coach that matches your dreams.
That is so perfectly said.
You can have it, put it on your website.
I freaking love that. Yes. Find a coach. Yes. Because the whole
And who
point
believes
is,
in your dreams,
absolutely. Now, I will say for me, and I think, those that are called to this work, I tend to lean into seeing people's best self, their higher self, I sometimes even get images and visions. That's a whole other thing. But,
I mean, you married yourself. We all believe that, Julie.
right, exactly. Like that trends.
We
That
buy
makes
it. We
sense.
buy it.
Yeah, we're buying that. You want someone that's going to hold. I'm sort of like, I can't believe there are coaches that don't. I mean, that is.
Oh
that
my
is the
God. You're
antithesis
the
of it.
cutest, most earnest thing. I love it. Like, write Julie all your notes about your terrible coach. I mean, it's just so terrible.
It's just, let's not even call that coaching, because that is called, like, that is shaming. That is, and I get some people might say, I won't even entertain that. That is not how I was trained. That's not my orientation. And in terms of just human behavior change and lasting change, I mean, the truth is, and sometimes I've had clients that not necessarily have come back because they made the shift and they're thriving.
No, I love that.
It's like,
I
great.
had a patient the other day. She was seeing me and this other therapist in my practice. And she's like, I don't think I need to see both of you. And I was like,
Yeah.
and then she told the other therapist, and I was like, Molly, just see what happens. See if, and the other therapist is,
Yeah. Like,
like
celebrating.
I was like, yeah. And it was like, just, isn't that how you want people and that you need to find the coach of your dreams? That I think I'm going to start using, because everybody asked me a question. How do I know if it's the right coach? It's the coach of your dreams.
The coach is going to match who you are stepping into.
That's right.
That is it.
Oh, Julie. I mean, we need to write a white paper on this.
Yeah.
That's
and
right.
Holding that no matter, and that's
We're
the difference.
relentlessly holding that piece
I-
of paper. This is who you want to be. Let's go.
Oh, and
Oh,
I'm going to tell you right now, I will never let go of that. I get
I
that.
know that as your friend. I do.
Yeah,
You're
get all
relentless.
that.
You're relentless in your pursuit of us becoming best people. I know that.
Yes, that's the whole you is you thing. I'm like, you live that, be that, but I'm going to hold that for you until you are able, until that starts to be. I just had a client who was just amazing to me. Amazing. She was in readiness of stage. She was ready to take action. She's like, I cannot get over what has happened in 4 months. I'm actually like peaceful and happy. I love my life. Like, I have boundaries. I'm like, yes, I've been holding that for you. You've been doing it. You've been doing the work, and it's freaking priceless. It's beautiful.
I'm just becoming a better therapist right now, though. Thank you.
Yes, you want someone that is going to see that, hold that, knows that, does not bring in tactics of shaming or
they're low hanging fruit. They're low hanging moldy fruit. That is their own fear.
Yeah.
And their own scarcity infecting your wellness.
And it goes back to what you just said before. And I hadn't thought of this. I know this because I do the work, because it's, first of all, I'm, kind of a growth junkie. It's the way it goes.
We're both growth junkies.
Yeah. So that's never not going to happen. But I think it's true. And it's a good point, because I will tell you, things have come up before where I'm coaching somebody. And part of this is what you get trained to do is you don't take on, I'm not here to fix, or if it comes up for me, there's something they're bringing up that is also something I've dealt with. I know how to manage myself. It doesn't even affect me today. I part of the reason I love coaching is I kind of leave myself. I'm there so fully with them, with the other person. And that's what you want, is somebody who knows how to have that kind of focused attention and presence, but that's going to hold your highest self there no matter what. And never.
And like, that's what you can rely on with them. I think that's people who do like me. I think that's what they hold, that I'm relentless of my pursuit. And I don't care if you don't like me sometimes.
Absolutely.
I'm here to be your friend.
Right. And if you're coming from, and this is the thing people say, okay,
So
how do
I'm very
you,
friendly and people
you are
do,
so friendly.
and I
Yeah.
become friendly.
Yeah.
Thank
You're
you. Well,
just relentless.
sometimes I'm a stone cold bitch. Just ask my dog, but yes,
We'll ask
yes.
Danny after. Yeah.
Plus Danny.
Yeah.
Yes.
Relentless holding. I love it.
Jewel, we
Yes.
gotta close down,
I know. Close the shop. I'm so
but,
sad.
I know,
So
but,
fun.
there's so many things you have to offer us. Can you tell us all the things you have to, but like the offerings are long. We don't have the whole show because we just did the whole show. So, because Julie has so many programs, we talk about this in we're accountability friends too.
Yeah.
But like, give us like the short story about all the ways you can help us because I'm obsessed.
Can I share synchronicity first? Really crazy.
Yeah, sure. Of course.
Someone is calling me
From Landmark.
coach. I have not heard from this person in a couple years. And I
Gosh.
literally,
Is that the one that you got divorced with, Bill?
it's not, it's actually another Landmark coach, the one who oversaw him that I worked
Oh my
with.
God.
I was like,
It's a
hold
great
on.
day.
If
It's a
you
great
want,
day to have a great day.
yeah, evidence, there's something greater. I'm just saying.
It's a
we're
great
right
day
here.
to have a great day.
It's a great day to have a great day. So, okay, what you asked me, what am I offering? It's
Like,
probably
where can we
good for
get
me
you?
to-
Where can we get
Yeah.
more of you? I always want more of you.
You're so cute. I would say, look, my like baby is my Life Designer Coach Academy. It is
Yeah.
so much heart and soul and also hands-on. I mean, I've had many come through that are coaches.
Yeah.
And that said to me, I will not name where they came from, but said I did not get the actual tools. I got scripts, I got this, but want to refine their skills or to enhance. I've had a lot of coaches come in, and I've had quite a few that have never had coaching experience. It's a really solid, I'm going to say world-class program. It really is.
I'm here for it. I would agree with that. And I've been to a lot of I'm here to Marshall Linehan. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, absolutely. It is, it's very experiential,
Mhm.
and you will learn. The thing I love about it is you're going to do the work because you're going to be getting coached and you're going to be learning how to coach. So
Love it.
it's kind of there's a meta to it. You are learning
Yes, I love
as you learn.
Yep.
We
And then
love
you
it.
have this amazing podcast.
I have, yes. I'm like, thank you. What else do
You're
I?
welcome. I'm just going to
Yeah.
remind you. I'm going to do it for you.
Yeah. Like I don't, what else?
So, and our codependency. Okay. There's this really great podcast called The You Is You. It is really good.
Yes, you were
You're
on
so
it.
like one of the most earnest, interested
Aw.
people I know. It's one of my requirements for being my friend. You're one of the most interested people I know. You're thirsty for knowledge. Podcast is great. And then you have all these micro programs too
Yes. I mean, obviously
about
I work-
everything.
about
Everything.
everything.
You want a problem solved, go to Julie. Julie's got like 18,000 courses for you.
I've got a lot. I definitely have a lot. Of course, I do some one-on-one still a little
That's
bit.
right.
Do some one-on-one. My website has a good,
It's
gives you a good sense.
comprehensive.
It's comprehensive. Yeah. And I have some free shit up on Insight Timer. I have a lot of meditations
Oh, really?
and talks up there. Yeah.
Oh my God. One of my clients asked me if you were on Insight Timer. I was like, I don't think so, but of course you are, because you're amazing.
Yes. My first thing that I did, I think I told you the Hungry for More, which was like,
that's right. Well,
years
we're on what
ago.
you're craving. It's a good thing to talk about.
Yeah, it's a really good thing. And then I have a gratitude course. I got a lot of stuff up there. Much of it is free.
Oh,
Couple of them are not, but
look at
most
you.
is free.
Look at
Yeah.
you living in your spiritual values. Well, I love you. I think everybody on the show loves you. I'm not going to do their work for them because I'm a coach. But
what do you mean by that, Molly?
tell me more.
Tell
me more. Can we
what
unpack that? Can we unpack that? I love
What's
you.
good about that?
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'll probably have you on like 15 more times in the years, and you're the best.
Well, I just want to say, I don't want to do the last word, but I
you have it. Take the last word.
Okay. Is that okay? All right.
Yeah.
Literally, I'm going to grab my mic. I love you. I adore you. Thank you for bringing me into your soul, your world, your space, the community here. I listen to your podcast. I love the work you're doing in the world, and it's just a gift. It's an honor. And I will say thank you to the divine.
Yeah. And Allie. And our friend Allie who put us together. Yes, Allie, we love you. We love you, Allie. Never turn down an opportunity to have a friend set up. We'll close with that. Honestly. Love you so much, Mama.
Mwah.